stablecoin bill is the linchpin on possibly a market explosion. Guys, you want to stick around for this one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back in the Tech Path. Let's get started. Coinbase, thanking our sponsor, and that is a place where you guys can get started on your crypto journey. Here's the thing. If you are brand new to crypto, now is the time to get in, go over and set up an account on Coinbase, buy some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some Avalanche, whatever you want to get into. Check it out and get started, guys. We are in a market position right now that I think is about ready to take open. Here's Cody Carbone coming in from the digital chamber, and he says, hey, feels like a good week to move on stablecoin legislation. A lot of people are still pointing at this week being the week for a stablecoin bill coming through. Other things that are happening, first time ever that the Treasury is the Borrowing Advisory Committee discusses stablecoins as a new payment mechanism. Let me show you something here that is pretty interesting. Look at this data right here. I want to kind of zoom in on this. What they're expecting is potential rapid growth of around 900 billion for T-bills. That's coming in, of course. Remember, Treasuries are what backs most stablecoins, especially if you think about Tether. And then if you look further into this, let me go to another chart here within this. Remember the growth of stablecoins. This is another, other than the 2022 Terra collapse, we were pretty much on an upward swing here on stablecoins. Obviously, it had that dip during this downturn, but now we've seen nothing but a rising tide, and that has been without a stablecoin bill. That's why I think this market catalyst is set up for a very, very big move overall. Other things that are happening right now, because the key here is that when you look at the current bipartisan lineup in DC and whether or not this is going to get passed, right now Democrats are possibly reversing course, and the reason is it's kind of the only position that they hold in terms of a little bit of a card. A group of Democrats who have previously backed the industry-friendly crypto legislation wrote in a statement Sunday, the bill stands still as numerous issues must be addressed. And I think what they're doing, this is typical in DC, is they're leveraging something they know is going to get through, but they can cause a little bit of turmoil by getting something they want. So it is just politics as usual. The bill, which needs support from at least 7 Democrats to pass the Senate, is key. Those 7 Democrats are going to be the linchpins going forward on this stablecoin legislation. Now, Tom Emmer has talked about this as well, and his statements are that if we get a stablecoin bill through, along with it, the market structure bill is going to come with it. And all of this could be a huge catalyst going forward for the markets in general. Stablecoins obviously will be a big factor. Other things that are happening right now in DC, of course, is Senator Warren. She's out there using anything she can to try to get in on the Genius Act, and she's trying to denounce it by basically pushing back on what's been happening with Trump and World Liberty Finance. We'll talk about that in a second. But a lot of this is boiling down into her just utilizing something to throw out the crypto moves forward. Take a look at this clip.
The United States is getting ready to bless Donald Trump's latest grift. A shady Abu Dhabi investment firm just announced it's going to make a $2 billion business deal with a foreign crypto company called Binance. So here's the kicker. Binance and the foreign investment firm are going to use Donald Trump's stablecoin to finance their transaction, essentially giving Trump a cut of that $2 billion deal. Boy, looks like corruption, smells like corruption. Look, we could fix this bill so that it stops this kind of corruption. But if we do not, then every senator must vote no or risk aiding and abetting Trump's corruption.
All right, so as you can see, this is not new from Senator Warren. She's pretty much going to do this regardless of anybody, including Trump or anybody else, doing anything in the crypto space. She has been that far against crypto from the very beginning. Remember, she's been part of Choke Point. She's been part of this whole left side really pushing difficultly toward a lot of these companies that have been trying to get things done. All of that have been thrown out of courts now here recently, and now we're starting to move in the right direction. She's really grasping for straws is what it boils down to. Here's Ron Hammond coming in from one of the lobbies out there, and he's talking about this. This is back to the point of the minority leverage, even though it's very small. They are going to push a little bit on this bill, and I think there may be some things that end up getting taken out of it. We don't know what that will be, but the likelihood is this still is going to press forward very quickly. Other things you look at right now, enough politics. Let's focus on doing what's right for change. Let's pass this stablecoin action now. And of course, this is really built around the fact that finance is moving forward with or without us. One of the things that they're talking about is how this may be moving in the side of stablecoins. And if you look at the stablecoin chart right here and altcoins, I want you guys to kind of consider these bull run positions and the explosion that we see when stablecoin explosions occur. We are right here, and this could be the premises of a unbelievable altcoin run going forward. So a lot really riding on this stablecoin action this month. Other things right now, the SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce says tokenization is a technology that could significantly transform financial markets. I believe this is pretty much a done deal. I think the globe is now starting to understand where this is going to be going. And I think now we're going to see some of the biggest countries in the world in a race to compete with the United States around all of this. The SEC also says they are announcing details for its fourth industry roundtable. This is going to be happening on May 12th. There's a lot of people here that will be important. And one, actually there's several, Fidelity, Apollo Global, Securitize, Robinhood, BlackRock, all of these are major players in Wall Street moving into the idea of tokenized securities and also maybe the shifting of the very stable concept of Wall Street in itself. A lot is moving right now in this month. May is going to be a very big month. And of course, Warren Buffett retired. And kind of his parting thought was this: it might be a good idea to own a lot of other currencies beside the US dollar. So this is something that we've talked about, is that there is a structure and a belief that Trump and the administration is trying to weaken the dollar for the ability to trade outside that. If Buffett is correct, and if that is happening, the alternatives around other assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many altcoins, that is going to open up, I think, a huge opportunity to possibly mainstream and legitimize what we've been talking about here on this channel for years, and that is the future of all of this blockchain and digital assets. Let's go over to a couple of things I want to look at right here, and that is the growth of these stablecoins. Here's Tether, of course, leading the way if you look at market cap in comparison. One thing I want to notice on is $2 billion right here on World Liberty Finance USD1. That is what Warren is talking about. This has been able to leap forward because of, you know, who it is. Yes, the world understands this, but World Liberty, I think, is a company, much like anything that, you know, has a family attached to it. When you think of the Trumps, this is going to be one I think that will continue to grow. I'm surprised that it went up so quickly. Even if you compare that, there's PayPal right there, True USD, even Ripple still struggling at around 300 bills, so, or 300 mil. So there is some openings here, I think, for stablecoins, and there are some key ones that most likely will be making their way into the market very soon outside of USDC and Tether. Be on the lookout for those, because I think some of those are going to be pretty significant in some of the major platforms, whether that's JP Morgan or Robinhood or others that start to really create a lot of opportunity there for stablecoins. Let's go into one more point, and this is talking about why this is so important right now versus China. Take a look.
I want crypto. I think crypto is important because if we don't do it, China's going to. And it's new. It's very popular. It's very hot. If you look at the market, when the market went down, that stayed much stronger than other aspects of the market. But I want crypto because a lot of people, you know, millions of people want it. I don't know if you know that Biden went after it violently, and then before the election, he changed his tune entirely. His head of the SEC, everybody changed their tune. You know why? Because there were hundreds of millions of people that are participating in crypto, and they wanted to get their votes.
All right, so I still do believe that the crypto community swayed a lot of the election direction. I'm not saying that they were the catalyst of it, but when you look at the amount of money that was put in by Coinbase and a lot of the companies out there that have been under fire for quite some time, and then you look at the idea of innovation here in the United States, where we've pretty much run companies out of the U.S., these 9 Democrats that are going to be voting on this and this catalyst this week, they could fall into the bucket of they were the guys or people that let China start to win the next fight in the financial future of the world. That's the kind of challenge that we're up against right now. This is a very critical time. We don't see many times like this in technology, but I go back many cycles of seeing this all the way down to the dot bomb. I have not seen one like this before, where you have AI, blockchain, and a finance infrastructure being remapped almost at the same time. Get ready, guys. We're going to see some new world powers, and let's hope that the United States is part of that. May 5th is the deadline for a Treasury Secretary to deliver the evaluation on establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This will be another factor. Whether this actually happens, I don't know. The fact that Bessent is still discussing that, I'm still questioning whether or not we actually see one, but I will be the first to talk about it if it actually does come through. I think this will be more around digital assets in general. And just as a reminder, Pectra mainnet's upgrade is happening on May 7th, so that's, of course, just here in a few days. This could be a big deal for Ethereum, and we've talked about this. We did a full video on that. We'll probably do one this week to give you guys an update on where this could guide the ETH investments and where that might look in terms of holding that 1,800 mark, which is what ETH has been really struggling to outpace over the past few weeks. Other things I want to hit on right here, House Republicans tax bill. One of the things this course is talking about, Mike Johnson is pushing to have the bill wrapped up by Memorial Day. So be on the lookout. This could be a big one if it goes to the Senate and gets through. One more clip I want to get to, and that one is Tom Lee talking about, are we in all-time highs again? Take a look.
I take that at face value, but if it's a permanent regime of tariffs, you still think we get to new highs in 2025 or by 2026?
Yes, I think new highs are possible this year. I mean, one reason is, companies have proven themselves to manage through shocks, and I don't think investors give them enough credit. That happened with COVID. Companies survived. Companies survived a bullwhip effect on the economy. They survived a surge in inflation. They survived the Fed hiking at the fastest rate ever. So I think this tariff shock, while it is shocking, I think earnings will probably outperform expectations. I mean, that'd be one thing. And then I think the things that were leading us down, whether it's Tesla or the Mag 7 or Bitcoin, they've begun to recover. In fact, as you know, Bitcoin's above its April 2nd level. So Bitcoin, I think, is telling us the S&P should recover towards the 5,800 level in the near term. And that's still upside from here.
All right, so some points you have to remember around Tom Lee. He's been kind of a perma bull if we play his clips often here. He's always bullish. This is the year for some of these all-time high. He's been calling Bitcoin at 150 and greater. He's also been looking at a complete resurgence of the stock market. I don't know that that happens in the, in the Mag 7, but you also have to consider, kind of the future here of where a lot of this is going around tariffs. And I think that is really the guiding factor, because we haven't had tariffs truly go into effect yet. And if Trump comes off of them before that even happens, do we just get a rebound before tariffs even become a thing? And has this all been a negotiation ploy? That's the question I think everybody's asking. From Bricks News, President Trump, of course, says at some point he's going to lower tariffs on China, because otherwise you can't do any business with them. And he understands this is the second largest economy in the world next to the United States. And he understands that this is going to have to be a bedfellow for trading partners that has to come to an agreement. That tells me he's ready to negotiate. Hopefully the Chinese see it the same way. We're going to be covering that and much more this week, so make sure and subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed right now, just hit that little subscribe button and jump in. Of course, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, it's our free email list. It's very easy to join. Just click the link down below and follow me out there on X at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.